Hi guys, I hope everyone is doing great. Today we are talking about something quite interesting, I hope for you, a kind of back to basics again, like water. But today we are talking about heat and how do I heat my snake and what are the other ways to heat your snakes in your situation. Let's go! So there is different ways to heat your snakes. The ones I use are this heat lamp. Don't touch it. This is not a great example. Don't touch it because it's really hot. There's a cage to protect it. For people wondering, yes, there is a cage. And then next to it there is this ceramic heat emitter. So that is on now because it's too cold in there at the cold side. So this is for days, daylight and heat and day heat, and this is more night time, you know, when they need to go, for example, it's too cold in the enclosure at night, then it goes on, and it goes on also like as now when you need to have a kind of rise up the temperature because there is not enough heat in there. What are the other ways to heat your enclosure? You have the heat pad or heat panel that you put here, so inside the enclosure, but you put it here on the ceiling on top of the enclosure. You put that inside, and then it's a kind of combination between a heat mat, which I don't have, but I explain why, and a ceramic heat emitter. Why? Because it's above like these ceramic heat emitters, but it's the same kind of stuff as the heat mat, but on the ceiling. The other way is the heat mat. So I don't use heat mat or heat panel of course, because this is a glass. It's not super great for it's not super great when you have a lot of you have glass and you have to screw stuff in it. That's not super great. Then you have the heat mat. I don't use heat mat, as you can see, if I can show you. As you can see, I don't use any heat mats. This is isolation. This is aluminum stuff for isolation that you see here. Also, this is isolation, but with that the heat mat doesn't work actually, so I can't use it. I made the test. People pro heat mat that are not thinking enough will say, well, you just have to remove that stuff because it's useless, blah blah blah, but I see the difference with and without, so this is that way that it works the best. Also, and little information about heat cables, because it's the same way as heat mats but a little different. These are cables, not mats. So heat mats and heat cables are more heat mats and heat cables. I'm reading a book about how vets care for snakes, for example, how they think about it, and you know, how a vet school book, someone is playing a vet school book, and they recommend, and I will show you it, to not using your heat mat here beneath here, but there outside the enclosure of course, but there. So for example here, so I don't see it, but here for example, there. This is what they recommend because for them it's more efficient to use it that way than that way. So what's that for me? This is isolation. A lot of people knows that, so for sure. With, for example, if I read it, so mother goannas, if you're from Australia, never mind. So they use it to climb. I use it as isolation, which is a great way to isolate, I think. I see the difference, so I think it's great. But this is the way it works with me. So another reason for example, I use this and this, well, more this, because a lot of people are saying to me, well, don't need that, ball pythons, because there are ball pythons in there. Here, I won't disturb them, but this is it. Why do I use this? Another heat mat, another heat panel, but heat panel, I said it, heat mat, I said it, but why don't I remove this to put a heat mat in it? So this is the stuff, this is because I tried heat mats without this here, this isolation, and with it, either way it doesn't work. So for me, I don't have the correct temperature. And think about that is that I tried with corn snakes and they didn't require as well, quite of the same temperature, but not the same temperature. And the thing is, I was 5 degrees Celsius or maybe 3 or 5 degrees Celsius below what I need. So we decided to not use it anymore. Since then I use heat lamps and it works really fine that way. Now, spoiler alert, I'm going to have new enclosure. My goal with those enclosures, these are PVC enclosure, to only use this one as heat and a UV lamp. And a lot of people would say that UV lamp doesn't need anything, they don't need it, but I think it can be a great idea to have as kind of arrangement, since I saw that they can benefit from UV even though they are not in it, right? Like this, they are in their heights, for example. But that's pretty it about, you know, heating, etc. So back to basics. So don't forget to heat your snakes. This is really important. Some snakes doesn't need like hot. Some snakes need hot. Some doesn't require any heat at all. Some really a lot of heat, depending on the snake, depending on where it is, blah blah blah, etc. But never do your research, etc. and try to make the best thing, even though if you have to go back to the basics, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Don't forget to support USARK, and don't forget to go join the group Brickley's and Exotic Pets, and I hope to see you on the next video, guys. Bye.